Good day, class. My name is HUSSAINI. I'm one of the lecturers for ZOO222, that is Coelomate Invertebrate. My part of the course consists of body cavities of invertebrates, systematics, evolutionary perspective, general characteristics and relationship to other animals, and a representative example of the phylum Arthropoda and Echinodermata. What are coelomates? Coelomates are animals that have a coelom. A coelom is a fluid-filled body cavity between two layers of mesoderm in some triploblastic metazoans. Although a body cavity can be any internal body space, in this course and in generally zoology, it refers to fluid-filled space between the internal organs and the body wall. The invertebrate phyla, Nidaria, Slintrata, and Platyhelminthes have a solid types of body with mesogly and mesenchyme, parenchyma, respectively, between the ectoderm and the endoderm. All the other phyla, other than these two, have a body cavity that separates the gut from the body wall. These three body plans of metazoans are distinguishable on the basis of the absence of body cavity, that is the acoelomate, the occurrence of a false body cavity, that is the pseudocoelomate, and occurrence of a true body cavity, that is coelomate or eucoelomate. A critical example of the body plan of the metazoan is the acoelomate, which falls under the phylum Platyhelminths, as shown in flatworm, and of the coelomate is shown in the phylum Annelida, which is earthworm, and the pseudocoelomate, that is the false coelom, is found in the phylum Nematoda, as in roundworms. What are invertebrates? Invertebrates are traditionally referred to as animals without a backbone. This is a definition of single-celled protozoans, animal-like protoctistans, and all other phyla of animals that do not have a vertebral column. When animals are examined and compared, many are found to have a row of internal bones along the center of their back. These bones are called the vertebrae, and animals that possess them are vertebrates. The vertebrates include fishes, amphibians, reptiles, the birds, and mammals, and they make up 3% of the animal kingdom. The other 97% are animals without backbones, or the invertebrate. There are many invertebrate animals that catch our attention, while many of them go unnoticed due to their microscopic size or because they live outside the general view of humans. That is, those that live in the water, underground, or in the soil, and so on. Types of body cavities. We have the pseudocele. The first cavity to appear during embryonic development is the blastocele, sometimes called the primary body cavity. The formation of a gut reduces the blastocele, but some of the spaces between endoderm and ectoderm remains. It is in this part of the body, that is the blastocele, that the solid parenchyma of acoelomate forms. The pseudocele is an activity. The pseudocele is a cavity left by the failure of the parenchyma to completely fill the space between the mesoderm of the body wall and the gut wall. It is a derivative of the blastocele. The gut wall in the pseudocoelomate therefore has no muscle layers as in the coelomate. Pseudocoelom is found in one major phylum, that is the Nematoda, and a few minor phyla, the Retophrera, Gastrotricha, Chinorhyncha, Nematomorpha, and Acanthocephala. The second body cavity is the coelom. The coelom is a secondary fluid-filled body cavity that forms a new space in the mesoderm and is completely surrounded by the mesodermal tissue. The fluid in the coelomic cavity is not in direct contact with either the gut or body wall, but is separated from both the peritoneal epithelium, that is the peritoneum. The coelom forms during development in some animals by the splitting of the mesoderm due to accumulation of fluid. As the coelom increases in size, the outer part of the mesoderm becomes intimately associated with the body wall, and the body wall is lined by the parietal or somatic mesoderm that becomes a parietal peritoneum. The inner mesoderm becomes intimately associated with the gut wall and other viscera, and the coelom is lined with the visceral or splanchic mesoderm, which forms the visceral peritoneum. The internal organs are not actually free within the coelom, but are bound by a cellular lining provided by the mesoderm in the form of mesenteries, which are actually continuation of the peritoneum. The type of coelom formed by splitting of the mesoderm is called a schizocele. The schizocele occurs in annelids, mollusks, and arthropods. In adult mollusks and arthropods, the coelom is reduced and mostly replaced by a hemocele. The significance of the coelom. Organs are embedded in solid tissue, parenchyma, as in the coelomate, are compressed anytime the animal moves its body, whereas there is freedom of movement of internal organ in animals that have a body cavity. This freedom of movement allows for efficient transportation of gut contents. A body cavity provides space for the development of gonads so that eggs and sperm are stored in a constant environment. The advantage of this is that animals with a body cavity can restrict their breeding to certain times of the year that are favorable, unlike those that breed all year round. Losses of offerings would be minimized in this earlier group. Fluid in the body cavity acts as transporting medium for metabolites and excretory products. Increase in size and complexity is possible in animals with a body cavity. Problems that might arise with increase in size are solved by a transport system, for example, a blood-vascular system. Greater complexity requires complex coordination. A more elaborate nervous system is thus formed for this purpose. Cephalization is part of the formation of an elaborate and complex nervous system. Metamerism. Metamerism is an important structural adaptation seen in many coelomates. It is a division of the body into a series of similar segments that are developed in the same degree and arranged in a linear series from the anterior to the posterior end of the animals. Each segment may have subdivisions of the organ system. An ideal metamerically segmented animal will have each segment with reproductive and excretory organs, as well as the skin, muscles, nerve, and circulatory structures, such an animal is, however, purely hypothetical. Metameric animals show specialization in these structures to greater or lesser extent. Among the invertebrates, the annelid and arthropod are regarded as basically metameric, but the condition has been extensively modified in the arthropod that is almost not recognizable. The annelid demonstrates the least modified form of metamerism. This refers to the development of all features associated with the head, that is the cephalization. It also includes the development of feeding apparatus, sense organs, nervous system, and so on. The protostomes and the deuterostomes. The protostomes are animals that first develop their embryonic stage by their head, while the deuterostomes are animals that have embryonic development that characterizes echinoderms and chordates, which develop their anus before the head. Phylum Arthropoda. The phylum Arthropoda is derived from a Greek word meaning anthron, that is joint, and podos, which is foot. When they're joined together, they mean jointed feet. About 75 to 80% of all known animals are arthropods. They are the largest of the phyla of animal kingdom, estimated at well over 1 million extant species. The most familiar forms around us are the insects, spiders, mosquitoes, scorpions, houseflies, honeybee, and so on. Many of the first complex fossil animals were arthropods, and if their rapid adaptation to changing environment are any indication, arthropods will probably be the last living animals on Earth. Arthropods have exploited every known environment. They are found at all depths in marine, brackish, and fresh waters. They are common in hot springs, saline lakes, temporary ponds, and underground rivers. On dry land, they are found in deserts, forests, grassland, and tundra. Their success as terrestrial animals probably owes a lot to their water-conserving excretory system, gaseous exchange organs, and desiccation-resistant impermeable cuticle. Many of the species are well adapted to a parasitic mode of life. It can be said that of all animals except humans, the arthropods have made the greatest impact on the Earth biosphere. Arthropods have segmented bodies with two or more distinct regions called the tagma. The body is covered by a tough, sometimes flexible chitinous exoskeleton that serves both protection and the attachment of muscles and other soft tissues. This is a typical example of the phylum Arthropoda: a locust, scorpion, a prawn, and a butterfly. Arthropods are bilaterally symmetrical. Characteristically, they are segmented protostomes, primitively equipped with a pair of appendages attached to each body segment. The appendages are, however, often reduced or lost in some of the body segments. Although all of the post-oral appendages were similar in primitive forms, modern arthropods have appendages that have been specialized for specific functions. Much of arthropod evolution is reflected in the specialization of the appendages, and the nature of the appendages is an important factor in classification. The surface of the body and the appendages is covered by continuous cuticle of complex structure. Heavy cuticle extend inwards to provide spines or shelves for muscle attachment. These extensions are called apodems. Paired segmental coelomic compartments appear during development, but are greatly reduced with the development of the hemocoel. They have an open vascular system. They have a contractile heart derived from a dorsal blood vessel lies in the dorsal pericardial sinus. Blood enters the heart through pairs of apertures known as ostia. The metameric nephridal system, typical of annelid, has appeared with the coelom, although some arthropods have retained some modified nephridia as excretory organs, and the gonoduct may be considered as highly modified nephridia. The nervous system is built on the annelid plan, the double nerve trunk, and primitively with segmental ganglia. The brain, however, is more highly differentiated. Cilia are completely absent, and all movement of the organism or its body parts are dependent upon muscle, with the appearance of an exoskeleton to which muscles can be attached. The muscular system becomes very complex. The eggs are richly supplied with yolk and a few short traces of spiral cleavage with a mesoderm stem cell. They have different types of larvae, but never a trachopod. They possess more than one perioral segment. They typically have 3. The cuticle is flexible at some points on the trunk and limbs to provide joints. They possess paired jointed appendages on some or all the body segments. Muscles are in discrete bundles. They possess compound eyes. Their sexes are almost always separate. Examples of arthropods include the crayfish, the crabs, spiders, ticks, mites, scorpion, housefly, millipede, centipede, prawns, and so on. Arthropods are said to have evolved from annelids, in which they show certain similarities. Both groups show metameric segmentation, a segment of arthropod bearing appendages which may be compared with the parapodia of polychaetes. However, in many arthropods, the basic metameric pattern in which every segment performs every function is considerably obscured. Groups of segments are specialized to perform functions for the entire animal. These groups are known as stigmata, and the whole process is stigmatization. Some degree of stigmatization is found in all annelids, but it occurs to a far greater extent in the arthropod and is important to evolutionary trend. Some of the advantages of metamerism is the opportunity it provides for specialization of this kind. Other points of similarities between annelid and arthropod include the structure of the central nervous system and some extent the arrangement of the circulatory system. The arthropod have a tubular heart, a dorsal, that is, at the back, which may be compared with the annelid contractile dorsal blood vessel. Paired segmental coelomic compartment develop in the young arthropod but are greatly reduced in the adult by the development of blood field space, the hemocoel. Classes of arthropoda consist of the class Onychopora, which are the peripatus, class Crustacea, which are the aquatic lobsters, crayfish, shrimps, crabs, fleas, water fleas, and others. Also have the class Myriapoda, which are the centipede, millipede. Millipede is actually derived from a Greek word milli, meaning 1,000, then peds, pods. So those animals in this class have several feet. They have several feet. We also have the class Arachnid, which are the scorpions, spiders, ticks, and mites. We also have the class Insecta, which include mosquito, housefly, bees, and so on. Why are insects successful? Probably because of their small size, or because they produce large number of eggs, or they have an exoskeleton for conservation of water, or they possess different types of mouthparts for chewing, piercing, and sucking, which create less competition among the insects, or because they have excretory products of uric acid, so they lose little or no water. Insects are also successful because they have a leg appendages modified for jumping, leaping, swimming, and locomotion. They also have a pair of large compound eyes, which are made for easy sight. They also have a protective coloration, or a mode of protection against their enemies. They have trachea for respiration, and they have antenna for feeling, and they have wings for flight, escape and colonization of the species, and for finding food. The ability to metamorphosize, or because they live in colonies, especially insects have the ability to live together and work as a committee with division of labor. The economic importance of insects, their usefulness. They are used as an agent of pollination for some plants. They are used as a source of protein, as a source of food, for example in crayfish, prawns, and crabs. They are used in production of honey. They are used in production of silk, and some of them enrich the soil. Well, some are used as a means of biological control. For example, if you want to control a certain animal that are becoming nuisance, you introduce flies to send them out of your environment. The harmful effect of insects. They are vectors of parasite causing diseases. For example, the tsetse fly that causes the sleeping sickness, or the mosquitoes that transmits malaria, or the cockroach that transmits leprosy, and so on. They are pests of fresh stored products, and some of them secrete poisons. Now let's go to phylum Echinodermata. Phylum Echinodermata is derived from a Greek word echinos, meaning hedgehog, and derma, meaning skinned. When you join them together, they mean spiny skinned. The phylum Echinodermata is said to be a link between the invertebrate and the chordate because of certain similarities that the two phyla share. The echinoderms and chordates are known as deuterostomes because in both groups the blastophore of the embryo develops into the anus and the mouth forms at the opposite end. In the prostostomes, annelid mollusks, arthropod, and their allies, on the other hand, the blastophore of the embryo gives rise to the mouth of the adult. It is believed that the echinoderms branch from the same deuterostome evolutionary stem as the vertebrate. Echinoderms are typically pentamorphs, that is, having 5 arms, as in the starfish and on the sand dollar. They have a true coelom. The outstanding characteristics of echinoderms. The structure of all living and most fossil form is based on a 5-sided pentamorphous pentaradiate symmetry. Some of them have increased this number, while some have gained bilateral symmetry. Since radial symmetry is a secondary acquired character, the echinoderms are not related to radially symmetrical organisms. Their most outstanding feature is their planktonic bilaterally symmetrical larvae, which develop into radially symmetrical adults. No other animal is known to do this. They are spiny skinned and they have a water vascular system. The echinoderms are diverse to about 6,250 species to 6,500 species of echinoderms distributed within the subphyla and 5 classes, and they are exclusively marine. The characteristics of the echinoderms include the fact that they are pentaradially symmetrical coelomates. The early larva shows evidence of metameric segmentation. The adults are unsegmented. Adult is secondarily radially symmetrical. There are 2 main types of body form among adults, the radiates and the globular. They are not cephalized, without any differentiated head, but have oral and aboral axes. Their body surface consists of 5 shields with podia, alternating with 5 that have no podia. There are various forms of the guts and it might not have an anus. Their nervous system is well developed but uncentralized. The system is made up of 3 nerve rings around the digestive tube with peripheral nerve radiating from them. Body wall is made up of a ciliated epidermis underneath, which is a dermis that contains calcareous ossicles which give rise to spines. The musculature of their body wall is poorly developed. They have a simple circulatory or humeral system that runs through a system of coelomic compartments. Their coelom is large and is in 3 distinct compartments. A unique water vascular system is formed from one of the compartments of the coelom. This is said to be the most unique feature of the echinoderms. The tube feet, which is the podia, are offshoot of the radial canals of the water vascular system, and the sulcus at their ends facilitate attachment to a substrate and are also used for locomotion. They have no special organs of excretion and their sexes are separate. They have various forms of free swimming and free living larvae, each associated with the different classes. The body organization of echinoderm. We want to use asterias, that is the sea star, because it is found almost everywhere. The asterias is a star-shaped It is strongly flattened along the oral-laboral axis and consists of central disc from which project 5 blunt-tipped arms. The central disc bears the mouth in the center of the lower oral surface and inconspicuous anus on the upper or arboreal face. Diagram showing the anatomy of a sea star. We have the anus, the midriporoid, the stomach, central canal ring, digestive gland, radial canal, gonads, ampulla, the tube feet. Ampulla and the tube feet and the podium are all tube foot. This is an image of the sea star. The body wall. The outermost layer of the body wall is thin and contains ciliated cells, mucous gland and sensory cells covered by a cuticle. The mucous cells secrete a protective coating while the epidermal cilia sweep off detritus. Immediately below the epidermis is a nerve plexus, and below this is a tissue in which the ossicles are embedded. These are formed of a mixture of calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate and are three-dimensional matrices with spaces filled by soft tissue and are joined together by a network of collagen fibers. The oral ossicles are closely but flexibly fitted, and those of the ambulacral grooves are particularly large for muscle insertion. In contrast, the arboreal wall ossicles from an irregular lattice. The body wall is completed by inner longitudinal and outer circular smooth muscle fibers and by a layer of peritoneum. They also have the water vascular system, as is explained here. They crawl slowly with one arm leading. Sometimes it may extend to 2 arms in front or even lead with an interradial region. Any of the arms can be used to lead. Propulsion is divided by the 2 feet, which move in a series of steps, 3 to 10 per minute. Each foot in turn is extended, fixed to the substratum, and used as a lever to push the body forward. Muscles in the podial walls are used to retract the foot as well as to orientate it during use and provide the necessary suction for attachment. Many of these originate in the ambulacral ossicles. In addition, the tube has a layer of connective tissue which prevents the foot from bulging rather than extending. The alimentary canal is aligned in the vertical axis, extending through the disc from the mouth on the lower side to the anus on the upper side, and all the gut structures are surrounded by xylem. The mouth, which is closed by a sphincter, the sphincter muscle opens into a short, narrow esophagus and then a large pouch cardiac stomach. The wall of the stomach are connected to the ambulacral ossicles of the arms by 10 pairs of triangular gastric ligaments. The cardiac stomach opens into the smaller pylori stomach. This is flattened and appears star-shaped because of the 10 blind ending pylori ceca, or digestive gland, which extend from it. 1 pair down each arm. A short common duct joins each pair to the pylori stomach. The digestive gland are hollow, ciliated structure made up of glandular cells and secrete enzymes and also function for food absorption and storage. The gaseous section takes place across the 2 feet and small evagination of the body wall called papillae. The tube feet and papillae are also the site for removal of the waste product, ammonia. Canadians have no specialized excretory system as stated earlier. Since their body fluids are isotonic with seawater, osmotic regulation is unnecessary. The fluid in the perivisceral xylem provide the main means of internal transport with the aid of its peritoneal cilia. The emal system in Asteria is poorly developed and consists of oral and arboreal rings, a radial sinus paralleling the water vascular canal in each arm, and a canal which parallels the stone canal and is surrounded by a mass of spongy tissues, the axial gland. The axial gland is said to destroy any microorganism which gets into the body. The emal system fluid contains coelomocytes which may play a role in food transport. The dorsal sac in the midriporoid pulsates and functions as a heart. the nervous system and sense organs. In addition to a subepidermal nerve net, which extend all over the body, asterias shows some concentration of nerve fibers which form a nerve ring around the mouth. 5 radial nerve cords arise from the nerve ring and extend along each arm. They are involved in the coordination of the podia. Additionally, the subepidermal plexus thickens to form marginal nerve cords that extend along the side of the umbilical grooves. The subepidermal system is predominantly sensory, and a deeper system of fibers extend from the radial nerve to supply the body wall muscles, and ampullary muscles. Asterias has large number of epidermal tactile, chemical and light sensitive receptors scattered over the general body surface, but concentrated particularly along the margins of the umbilical groove and on the podia. There is an optic cushion at the tip of each arm formed from a collection of about 150 pigment corpusculi. Asterias is distinctly photostatic. In reproduction and growth, their sexes are separate. They have 5 gonads, which are suspended in the perivisceral sternum by strands of mesentery. They open through ciliated gonadocs, the cluster of gonopods near the junction of the arm. The size and extent of the gonad varies seasonally. Near spawning, they may also fill their arms. The sperm and eggs are shed into water, and fertilization is external. Economic importance of the echinoderms. Studies have demonstrated the significance of the plateaus larva of the sea urchin in the pelagic food chain. Many species of sea urchins are exploited in some European countries such as France, Spain, or Croatia due to their high commercial value of their testy gonads. Toxicity tests using embryos and larvae of sea urchin in the assessment and monitoring of marine pollution. Echinoderms also play a major role in marine ecosystem. For example, grazing sea urchins reduce the rate of colonization of bare rock. Burrowing sand dollars and sea cucumbers deplete the seafloor of nutrient and encouraging deeper penetration of the seafloor, thus increasing the depth to which oxygenation occurs. Starfish and brittle stars prevent the growth of algal mats on coral reef, which would obstruct the filter feeding constituents organism. Some sea urchins can bore into solid rock, eroding rock faces which release nutrient into the ocean. The echinoderms are also the staple diet for many organisms, most notably the otter. Many sea cucumbers provide a habitat for parasites and also crabs, worms, and snails. The extinction of large quantities of echinoderms appears to have caused a subsequent overrunning of ecosystem by seaweed or the destruction of an entire reef. The fine spines of certain species of sea urchins pierce human flesh. For example, those people that goes to the island for vacation, you mistakenly put your leg inside the sea water, and unfortunately if there is a sea urchin and then the sea urchin pierces into your leg, the leg may have to be removed. Sea cucumbers are also considered as a delicacy in some countries of Southeast Asia. They are well known as beche de mer or trepang in China and Indonesia. The sea cucumbers are dried and the potentially poisonous entrails removed. The strong poisons of the sea cucumbers are often psychoactive, but their effects are not well understood. It appears that some sea cucumbers toxins restrain the growth rate of tumor cells, which has sparked interest from cancer researchers. The calcareous tests or shells of echinoderms are used as a source of lime by farmers in areas where limestone is unavailable. For example, in liver states, they are used as stones for concrete for building their houses, and it lasts long. The trade in the shells is often carried out in conjunction with shellfish farmers, for whom the starfish pose a major irritation by eating their rocks. Thank you for listening.